Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. It is Follow the Money. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard. We're live in downtown Las Vegas. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. In this hour, Ross Tucker will join the program. We'll go rapid fire with all four games in the divisional round. That's in 15 minutes. Pauly has look-ahead lines for every potential matchup championship weekend, next weekend. Can't wait to find out the rundown on most of those games coming up. And if you missed any of the show yesterday, we tried ranking. This, I thought, was extremely difficult to do. We tried to rank the remaining quarterbacks in the playoffs. If you missed it, you can go back and search Follow the Money wherever you get your podcasts. Today, we'll try to do the same thing with coaches, ranking the remaining coaches here in the playoffs. In reverse order, Pauly, 8th overall, the worst of the best?
Yes.
Is that what you want to call it? Okay. Todd Bowles, I have number 8.
So do I.
For the Buccaneers. It did not go well for him when he was with the Jets.
Right.
So it's been a very small sample size with him as a head coach overall, but somebody's got to be last on this list, and that's where I put Todd Bowles.
And someone had to win the NFC South. So
kind of by default.
Yeah, can't give him that much credit. Here's another reason why I still have him 8th as well, which, yes, you mentioned with the Jets. 21-17 Detroit on Sunday. Tampa at the Detroit 40-yard line, and it's I'll call it the 38. Tampa at the Detroit 38-yard line, and it's 4th and 3. What's he going to do? I'd say I may kick a field goal, the favorite.
Probably.
Yep. Then punt. And number 2.
Mm.
That's Todd Bowles.
That's who
very
he is.
Old school, very conservative.
Yep. Who do you have 7th overall?
McDermott.
Wow, we agree.
Yes.
I have McDermott 7th as well.
Yep.
I mean, overall, he is going to get... Oh, look at how many times they win games. Yeah, but also think about this. How good the roster has been for the last 4 or 5 years. And also what really happened to the AFC East after Brady left. So that all correlates at the same exact time. So is McDermott really this genius of a head coach? I don't think so.
Right. Didn't squib kick. Cost him a chance maybe to win the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah.
That was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
That still comes back to haunt him.
Yep.
And then Dorsey was the fall guy this year as well.
Wasn't going well. Pin the blame on somebody else. And you're right. Like previous mistakes these coaches have made are going to weigh in with how we rank.
Yeah.
Right? Rank these guys right now in the order. And you're exactly right. That Chiefs game should have been over with.
But the other candidates, though, you want to point to lack of talent or lesser talent and unbelievable turnarounds. That's another reason why you have to have them down the list with the other guys we're going to get to.
That's right. Okay. So far, we're 2 for 2. Who do you have 6th?
LaFleur.
Wow, we're 3 for 3.
Youngest roster in the league. I'll raise my hand. I thought he was a below-average coach, but what he's done with Rodgers gone now, and to do this with the youngest roster and then go into Dallas and hammer them, and how well Love has played down the stretch, I have LaFleur 6. He's done an excellent job.
He really has. You're exactly right. It was very easy to pin all of that success on Aaron Rodgers when he was there because Rodgers won those 2 MVPs and he played out of his mind.
Winning 13 games every year.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Also, you want to talk about previous mistakes? This guy's going to have to win a Super Bowl, I think, before I forget what he did on 4th down against the Buccaneers at home.
That's a good point. That was bad. That was awful.
You're down by 8 points.
Yep.
Late in the game, you haven't had a solution. You couldn't stop Tom Brady the entire game, and you kicked a field goal to make it a 5-point game.
Yep.
Hoping to get a stop. You never saw the ball again. I couldn't believe what was happening. It's 4 years ago. I can't get over it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's gotten a lot better. Oh, the play calling and the decision to do this with Jordan Love, I think really it's like both guys deserve a lot of credit here. But the early play calling in games now, and when you look at 9 straight games where Green Bay has scored the first touchdown.
Yep.
That's like out of the gates. You know what you're doing. The scripted plays have been fantastic.
Yep. Concur on all of it. Number 5, I have DeMeco Ryans. And that's going to be awkward if Stefanski now wins Coach of the Year. I mean, they just played in the playoffs and Ryans won. I understand it's a regular season award, but this organization was atrocious. 3 wins, 4 wins. He comes in and immediately, with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
And he immediately comes in and takes them to a division title, and they win a playoff game by 30 points. How about the video that came out yesterday telling, I think it was Nelson, I could have the wrong guy.
Harris, maybe?
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah. But saying, here's what you're going to do here. Look for this from Flacco. Next play, pick 6.
Yeah.
That's great coaching.
I actually have Dan Campbell number 5.
All right, I have him 4. That's okay.
Okay, so we flip-flopped him there.
Same thing. How bad were the Lions? So I know we criticize him for too aggressive and fake punts from his own 15, but come on. What Dan Campbell's done the last 2 years.
Well,
great job.
The in-game stuff has haunted him.
Yes.
Okay, over this year for sure, done a couple of really bizarre things, but you can't, the way that he has motivated the team and that rah-rah attitude has really worked. I know it's fun to mock him and the biting the kneecaps, and he has, 7,000 milligrams of coffee every day by the time you wake up. So he's actually covering that guy. If you lived and worked in media in Detroit, it's got to be a blast to cover him because he's an unbelievable soundbite. But the fake punt still, and always by default just going for it on 4th down. Yes, you embrace the analytics, but every single time, I think you got to know game flow, situational football on top of that has to be a factor. And he's too emotional, as Michael Lombardi has called him before. He's reckless. And I look at D'Amico Ryans and. First of all, what a job by selecting Bobby Slovic for his offensive coordinator. D'Amico Ryans is a defensive coach, and this has been an offensive story in what they've done with C.J. Stroud. This guy has done an amazing job in year number 1.
A little conservative, though. Kicked the field goal from the 2-yard line on 4th and goal.
Right.
To go up 3-0 last week. I mentioned what he did against the Colts in the Week 18 game. He wasn't lined up ready to go 4th and 1 at midfield. They had to punt there, and then he punted 4th and 2 also from midfield. But still, I mean, I know you think he should win Coach of the Year. Certainly Stefanski couldn't have been 1-10 going into Weeks 18. And I think that's going to be a close vote coming up.
As do I. So then 1 through 3, I think this might be the most difficult part of the entire order, although you really can't go wrong at the same time. 3rd, I have Harbaugh.
So do I.
They define the word consistency in Baltimore. They're always a player the way it seems. They've had a lot of injuries in the past.
Here's what I love also. The regular season success. But if he does something in-game, why'd you go for 2? Why'd you do this down 13? He always has an answer ready, and he knows every analytical decision and why it was made and has it ready for the reporters afterwards.
Right. It's not willy-nilly.
It's all thought out. It's everything. He knows exactly what he's going to do in every situation. And go back to last year as well. Now, it was a bad job with the clock management in the final 2 minutes. He should have won that game. Silly turnovers, right? You fumbled at the 1. Should have beat Joe Burrow on the road with Huntley.
Yep.
Great coaching job.
Yeah, and so if you compare the soundbite with John Harbaugh after a game when he is criticized or questioned about it in game to something that Brandon Staley would say over the years, it's completely different. Staley he never really had, we have an analytical answer for every single, well then explain that. Why? Why is the play calling so bad then when you're in 4th and short and you go for it every single time? Why? And then you changed your mind because the media got to you. Why would you change your mind? Now, this guy used to be automatic, Harbaugh, in terms of going for it, and he settled for field goals down the stretch this year rather than going for it more often. But remember that year in 2019, that was like 4th and 3 at our 40-yard line. We know we're going to get the first down. You're not going to stop us. And if you don't, or if you do, we have such a good defense that you're not going to move the football on us anyway. Mm-hmm. Number 2, and again, I could probably have this guy number 1, but I have a number 2. It's Kyle Shanahan.
Yep. I have Shanahan 2 and Andy Reid number 1.
Yeah. I love Shanahan. And if anybody puts him number 1 for remaining head coaches, you're not going to get an argument from you whatsoever. I know that you're going to point to his never won a Super Bowl. Andy Reid has 2 of them now. I get it.
Well, one guy has Mahomes. The other guy had Garoppolo.
Exactly right.
And Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, look at what he's done with Mr. Irrelevant. Now, the organization here, they don't screw around. They put together an amazing roster for this guy, and they thought that they were one more weapon, like they needed Christian McCaffrey, right? Mm-hmm. Then they go out and make that trade happen to even take him up to that next level. But also, how much credit does he get for Brock Purdy's success? Probably a lot.
Yep. And Andy Reid, certainly, he took a lot of abuse in Philly. I mean, the guy went to, 4 or 5 straight NFC title games? And what he did?
Oh, yeah.
So, Andy Reid's success prior to Kansas City. He's got a great resume. Yeah. And you have to love the stuff off the bye with this guy his whole career.
Sure. And with Mahomes again, this is the first road playoff game. That's pretty much all you need to know.
Yep.
Is that they get the job done pretty much in the regular season every single year. And, made those runs towards Super Bowl titles as well.
To me, this was very easy.
Yeah, this one was boring compared to the quarterbacks.
That was the quarterbacks were almost impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And interesting, too, to tie it all in, to Dan Graziano on ESPN.com, they asked him what he thinks is going to happen, where these coaches are going to wind up. Chargers, Harbaugh. He's been told Harbaugh really likes Herbert. He thinks Harbaugh to the Chargers. Vrabel to Seattle. Hunch and sources, the timing also, the day after Vrabel was let go, Carroll was let go. Aaron Glenn to Tennessee. Former player, the appeal as a former player, much like Dan Campbell. Ben Johnson to Washington. Callahan to Carolina, the Bengals OC. Slowick, if it's not Callahan. And Belichick to Atlanta. If it's not Belichick, dark horse Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson. That's one man's opinion, but that's what he thinks based on what he's hearing and what he thinks the direction these organizations are going to go.
I would disagree with one of those. Maybe he's right on it, but I would disagree with that direction. I think if you're Tennessee, you need to go after Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick. You need to get an offensive guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. He has Slowick mentioned too as a possible candidate with Tennessee as well.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I would think it's going to be Slowick.
Yeah, and I think Titans fans would be doing cartwheels if they could land that guy.
Yep.
Again, you don't know which coordinators are going to work, which ones aren't going to, but do you really want to follow Mike Vrabel with another defensive coach?
Yeah. I don't get the whole Aaron Glenn thing.
No.
How bad has the defense been since week 7?
Ross Tucker on the program coming up next. We'll get his thoughts, rapid fire style of all 4 divisional round games coming up next here on VSiN. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today and get unlimited access to our vsin.com/picks page. Earlier today, we had Nigel Seeley on. He gave out a few overs in soccer, including Brentford in the EPL, Brighton over as well. For more VSiN Pro picks, become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Follow the money. We'll give you 10% off an annual subscription when you use the code FTM. Ross Tucker joins the program now. He's on X, a great follow, at Ross Tucker NFL. Also hosts the Even Money podcast. Good morning, Ross. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Of course. I'm doing fantastic. Always great to be on with you guys. Looking forward to what is usually the best weekend or my favorite weekend of football all year.
I love this weekend. It's so good. Down to 2 games each on Saturday and Sunday. Really difficult to top. Okay, so let's begin with the early game on Saturday. A game in which you are calling between the Ravens and the Texans. Baltimore, a 9.5-point favorite in this game. The total down to about 43.5. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, I hate some of these lines this week. I got to be honest with you. The 9.5s, the 6.5s, the 2.5s. They're going right under those key numbers. I would probably lean Baltimore. And the reason why, there's a couple different reasons why, but they have slaughtered good teams this year. In fact, they have the best point differential against other playoff teams in NFL history. I'm doing prep for the game. It's like plus 171. It's amazing what they have done against good teams this year. Now, I kind of thought the Texans would run out of gas last Saturday against Cleveland, and I was blown away. I thought after the win in your in game against the Colts that the Texans, we made the playoffs and we get a home playoff game. I thought the Browns would win that game. And I was so impressed by Stroud, of course, so impressed by the Texans. This is a different animal, okay? The Browns had a good team. The Baltimore Ravens have a great team. They're the first team to have the first team all-pro quarterback and the number 1 scoring defense since the 96 Packers.
Wow.
So I don't typically lay 9.5. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to recommend people do that, but that would be my lean as opposed to taking the Texans. Now, if you got the 10.5, now we might have a different conversation. It's not going to get there, so I would just lean Baltimore laying the 9.5.
Well, you're fully prepared for the game already. Sounds like you could call it this afternoon. 2 great nuggets there on the game that you're calling this weekend. Well, so then again, the Ravens laying 9.5 as the 1 seed. The other 1 seed plays after them. The Niners, they're also laying 9.5 against Green Bay, who just put up, an A-plus game against Dallas. Do you think that carries over to this game against San Francisco, or is it kind of going to be the same thing? The Niners are just too much here.
It's funny. Aren't these games similar,
yeah.
right? Where it's like number 1 seed at home, 9.5-point favorites coming off the bye against a young up-and-coming team with a gunslinging quarterback. I mean, these are like the same games. In this one, man, Jordan Love has been on such a tear, and I feel like LaFleur's playoff experience helps him a little bit. They torched the Cowboys like we've never seen. This one, I'll probably lean towards the Packers a little bit, primarily because I do have faith in Love and their ability to score with the Niners. Niners have a good defense, but not as good as what we've seen from Baltimore. So I think there's a better chance that Jordan Love, at a minimum, maybe gets you the backdoor cover here, but very similar to the Texans. Now, obviously, when the spread was at 10, if you could get to 10.5, that would be incredible. Again, I don't think it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's where it's probably going to end. But I would lean Green Bay getting the 9.5 here, thinking Love can get you the backdoor cover late. Maybe they're down by 14, 13, whatever late, and he gets that late touchdown.
So the total took money this week. It's up to 50.5. Do you agree with that?
I'm not surprised that the total went up. No, I think that this will be a pretty high-scoring game. So that does not surprise me. I don't know if I'm going to go over 50.5, but that would be my lean. It's just tough for me, when you could have gotten the better number earlier in the week,
Yep. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Ross Tucker. Again, you can follow him on X. He's an awesome follow at Ross Tucker NFL. Get his podcast as well. Wherever you listen to your podcast, it's the Even Money Pod. Then we go into the 2 games that we have on Sunday. Another team taking money here. Well, it's the Lions up from 6 to 6.5. Now, the Buccaneers did a great job on Monday night shredding a bad Philly defense. The Lions, I mean, look at what Stafford did here. Do you think Mayfield can go into Ford Field on Sunday and kind of duplicate what Stafford did against this Lions defense?
I think it'll be similar. Yeah, I actually like the over 48.5 in this game. The Lions corners struggle. I mean, that is going to be what cost them more than likely, in my opinion, going to the Super Bowl or winning it. They have a really good team pretty much everywhere other than corner. We saw that with Puka Nacua lighting them up. And Baker Mayfield, he's in a little bit of a rhythm. He looked good, I thought, against the Eagles. How many drops did the Bucs have, right? I mean, they could have beat the Eagles by 30, 40 points with all the drops they had. I think this is going to be like a shootout. I think we're talking about 28-27, something like that, where they go back and forth. It's indoors. Weather's not a factor. Ultimately, I do think that the Lions win the game. Maybe it's more like 31-24. I would actually lean to the Lions laying the points here. And you guys know me. I'm big on underdogs, big on taking the points.
Sure.
But I would lean the Lions laying the 6.5. But what I really like, my play for the game is the over 48.5.
That's fair. Now, the first time that they met in the regular season, that was all Lions. Buccaneers didn't do much on offense. That has nothing to do with this game, right?
No, I'll tell you why. I think the Bucs O-line has improved quite a bit. I think Baker's playing better.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of know who they are, right? They got a tight end in Otten who's been productive. And even they have Palmer, the rookie receiver, has some juice. Then we know about Mike Evans and Godwin. So I do think, the Lions play a lot of man-to-man. I don't think that's real good for them against these Bucs receivers, which is why I think that the Bucs are able to put up 20-some points. If they put up 20-some points, this game's going over.
Yeah, totally agree. And then the final game of the weekend, I mean, the ratings for this bad boy, if it's a good game in particular, I can't even imagine what the numbers are going to be. Chiefs at the Bills, of course, everybody knows, first road playoff game for Patrick Mahomes. Bills are 2.5 with juice. How do you want to attack this one?
Yeah, so I could only lean the Kansas City here. Now, I will say on the Even Money betting podcast with Steve Fezzik, I teased the Chiefs from plus 2.5 up to plus 8.5, and I paired them with the Lions, who, when the Lions at the time were just laying 6, so it's just a pick 'em, right? Just picking the Lions to win the game. Now it would be the Lions teasing them down to just plus half a point. Again, they still just need to win the game. It doesn't really make a difference. So that would be my play for the game. But if you're not into the 6-point two-team teasers, then I would lean Kansas City getting the 2.5. To me, it's a toss-up game. And the real issue, it's a benefit, certainly, for the Bills playing at home, and they're playing well. Guys, they're just so beat up. I mean, I don't know if you guys follow Dr. Chow or Sports Injury Central, SixScore.com, but this is the biggest disparity of any of the games this week in terms of the health between the two teams. The Chiefs, much healthier than the Bills. The Bills very beat up on defense, especially linebacker in the secondary. It doesn't feel real good going against Mahomes, who I thought was really sharp Saturday night against the blitz, against the Dolphins defense. So I can only lean. Look, I love Buffalo. I love playing up there. It was my favorite team I played for. You see the helmet behind me. But I can only lean to the Chiefs because if I think it's a toss-up game, give me the 2.5. I'd probably look to the Chiefs on the money line. But you guys already know I tease them down, or tease them up, I should say, to plus 8.5.
Yeah. You're a big food guy. You tweet about it all the time. So I think you're one of the reasons why I think you're a great follow on X. Are you a big fast food guy as well?
I am. I mean, I try not to be. I'm a recovering offensive lineman, so I try not to be a big fast food guy. But yes, I love fast food for sure.
So we do this all the time on the network. I mean, humans with the rankings overall. This was kicked around a little bit yesterday. Best fast food burger, and they made In-N-Out minus 150, Shake Shack plus 250. You see the odds there. Which burger would you go with at the price?
Oh, at the price you have there, it's funny. I would go with Five Guys because I'm an Eastern PA guy. You know,
very
that's
good.
where Five Guys. That's what we're used to. It's funny though because people criticize Five Guys because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So when you said at the price,
Well,
I didn't know if you meant at the odds you guys have listed or at how expensive Five Guys. Anytime I say anything positive about Five Guys, people are like, yeah, it's $60, $50. And I'm just like, okay, like, you know what? I do care about money. I don't spend money, but I spare no expense when it comes to my burger. Okay. Like I'm not going to worry about how much a Five Guys burger costs.
Yeah. Have you had Shake Shack?
I have had Shake Shack. It's pretty good.
It's very good.
Not as good, I might add, by the way, as a Valentine's Day gift as myfrontpagestory.com. My wife loves burgers, but she would not love a burger as much as she would love the best Valentine's Day gift you could ever do. Both. Take her out to dinner at Shake Shack or In-N-Out or Five Guys and give her her story from myfrontpagestory.com when you get there.
Well played, my man.
We love food, and Omaha Steaks, you'll fall in love at first bite with their tender steaks, juicy burgers, air-chilled chicken, and more. You're going to love every bite. It's Omaha Steaks guarantee. And for a limited time, when you go to omahasteaks.com/VSiN, you get 4 free air-chilled boneless chicken breast and 4 free rich, juicy boneless pork chops with your order. Minimum purchase may apply. omahasteaks.com/VSiN. We love food. We love talking fast food.
Can't go wrong with Omaha Steaks.
No doubt. Everyone has an opinion on fast food as well. This was all over social media yesterday. The Eagles tweeted this out. Jason Kelsey got his favorite gal at the drive-thru at McDonald's and gave her an autographed jersey. There's the tweet. There's the picture. Ross responds to the tweet. I guarantee he ordered a sausage McMuffin with egg because that's the greatest sandwich of all time. Kelsey responds, you bleep and know it. 2 sausage, egg, and cheese and a large coffee every time.
Is it good?
I go no egg.
So do I. That's how I used to order it anyway.
Yeah. That's my go-to.
I used to get...
Although I was not... You put me on this. Chick-fil-A's breakfast dunks on McDonald's breakfast.
Oh, Chick-fil-A's breakfast is the real deal. It's the real deal, Holyfield.
Yes, it is. Oh, that burrito? Choke an elephant, that thing.
I do that once a week.
Yes.
I stop. I get it. There's never... I can't believe it. There's never a line at a Chick-fil-A drive-thru in the morning. People are sleeping on the breakfast.
Well, keep it quiet.
So it takes 30 seconds. You get the chicken. You go chicken and sausage, right?
Yes.
I get the chicken burrito without potatoes, add double chicken. I want the double chicken on it.
Heady play.
Oh, it's so
good job.
It's a monster burrito, by the way.
Choke a hippo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am full until if I eat that at 7:30.
Absolutely.
I'm full until 1.
You're good. Oh,
Easy.
yes, you are.
Easily.
You're all set. Yes.
Yep.
No doubt.
But I don't disagree. when I used to go in, I honestly don't do fast food as much as I used to, but when I did all the time, that was one of my go-tos was the sausage McMuffin, no eggs, let's dance.
Yep. Give me the cheese and give me the hash brown too. And they got good OJ.
Yep. This is from Bob on X. Five Guys is an elite burger.
Yes.
I spent a lot of time in Shanghai last year, and luckily for me, there was a Five Guys downtown I could go to when I craved a good burger. It was a little cheaper over there as well. Okay, so let's plan a trip to Shanghai. You're not.
It's huge. That burger is so big. And I understand the price too. I mean, but you're going to get a ton of food. You are right. They fill the bag with fries.
Oh,
they stuff that sucker. I'm like, what is this? This is how much I get? Now it's $20.
Huh.
But it's still, but Shake Shack also, I go Shake Shack and then I'll go, I can't remember Culver's. I've only had it once.
Yeah.
But I remember I was blown away by the menu and how good everything was.
This is from Go Fast Tony on X. Culver's at 6-1 is a sleeping giant on that list.
Oh, sure. That's what humans' go-to was with the Butter Burger. Yep.
I got to go back and have it again. It's been too long. Okay, you have look-ahead lines for championship weekend. You gave us a couple earlier. I was shocked by one of them, but go ahead.
Right. And I'm so big into this, too, because of the 8 teams left, I have futures on 6 of them. And they range from 375,000 to 7,500. So I want to...
Which 2 teams do you not have futures on?
Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Bay of Pigs. Those are the only 2 I don't have futures on.
When did you get Buffalo?
Monday.
You bet him to win the AFC?
I made a deal with our guy, Chris. Chris from the Blackjack tournament, the guy who watches on Nesson, he has him 165,000. They worked a little deal there, saver with Chris.
Wait. From the Blackjack tournament, he has the Bills to win 165,000?
Yeah.
When was this?
This was in December when I knocked you out on the last hand.
He got Buffalo at what price?
4th pick, 16-1.
Okay.
$10,000.
$10,000 on it then?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were, what were they at the time? 8-6 or something? I go back and look.
Yeah, they had that stretch of games that they had to have coming up.
Okay, so I asked the guys down the street at the Westgate, what do you think?
Well, give me the games.
Bills? Okay, no, I'll tease it. Houston beats Baltimore. No matter what happens in the other game, they are a 6.5-point dog. The Chiefs and Bills are both 6.5 against Houston if they win. Baltimore is 3.5 against either team as well. These are the guys at the Westgate.
Okay,
Ed Salmons, Jeff Sherman do a great job.
So last week, the thought was the Bills would be about 10.5 against Houston.
Right.
And the Ravens would be about 11. But if the Texans go back-to-back wins here as a home dog, and then if they would go to Baltimore and win, the power rating's got to go up, obviously.
Absolutely. And we'll get another explanation coming up.
I think the Ravens against Buffalo or KC at 3.5 is too many. Anything north of 3, you got to take the dog.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. That's, well, I mean, depending on what happens this weekend, for sure.
You're talking about a Texans win by 30 points over Cleveland, who was hot, and then you'd be beating the 1 seed, the hottest team in the NFL. They've won 6 of 7, and their point differential is plus 90, and what they did to Purdy on Monday night. So KC or Buffalo, both 6.5 at home to Houston. Baltimore 3.5 at home to KC and the Bills.
I'm trying to think here. If KC has home field to go to the Super Bowl, and it's this defense playing at this level against Stroud, is that going to be his most difficult matchup?
Well, you give up 17 a game.
I mean, to say that
Baltimore's got a great defense too.
I'm saying that would be based on Stroud going there and winning this weekend. Then,
yeah, yes. What about Stroud? What does it look like? Did anyone get hurt? A lot going into it. San Francisco will be 7.5 in the NFC title game against Detroit.
Man, isn't it difficult to think that Detroit is only 2 points better than Green Bay?
Yeah, I think that's a horrible matchup for Detroit. I think the Niners would carve them up and do whatever they wanted offensively. San Francisco.
What's the total in that game?
Yes, that's where I was going. I didn't. 13.5 against Tampa.
Oh, man. And they're 9.5 against Green Bay. And Tampa Bay and Green Bay just played at Lambeau, and the Buccaneers eviscerated them.
I know. How things have changed, my friend.
Oh, man. 13.5.
Detroit, 2.5 at home to the Packers.
Okay, then what's Green Bay at Tampa?
2.5. Green Bay, 2.5.
Green Bay's favored by 2.5 then.
Well, you just buried. You'd be beating the top 2 seeds in the NFC.
Of course, you have to consider that.
You have a hot quarterback, and how hot would the Packers be? You're right. They didn't play that long ago.
They just played, yeah.
But you're getting healthy at the right time. You're getting Alexander. You got Alexander back. They're a different team with Jones. Green Bay favorite at Tampa.
Give me Jordan Love versus Baker Mayfield to go to the Super Bowl.
No.
That would be incredible.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Oh, that'd be... No, minus your bets again. Forget about that.
But I still don't want to see that. But
you don't want to see that game?
No.
Oh,
no bets. I want the big boys.
I would be drooling. Imagine they go to Dallas and San Francisco back to back.
On the same way. I think the same way in baseball, same way in the NFL. We just did this for 5 months. I want 1 seeds.
Yeah, okay, but what at that point, think of the stretch that Green Bay would be on.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Again, Detroit, Buffalo, Super Bowl, the world ends. Absolutely. And imagine what it would be like in Las Vegas with Bills Mafia taking over and what those Lions fans are like. FTM@vsin.com. You can email or tweet at us thoughts on those look-ahead lines.
I think I would want to
What do you want to do if those are some of the matchups next weekend?
Again, you'd have to consider everything here. If the Texans would go to Baltimore and win this weekend, but I can get less than a touchdown with KC at home if they would beat the Bills 6.5 against the, I don't know. I hate late numbers too in the NFL, but that just seems like it might be a tad cheap. I love these scenarios.
Right. Because I enjoyed what happened Saturday, but I'm thinking, do you believe this? I got a future for $375,000 and I'm going to be a double-digit dog 3 games in a row?
Well, yeah, you can believe it because they were priced that way for a reason.
But how well they're playing, though. But since it's changed now, because, yes, I'm a 9.5-point dog Saturday. Now I'm down to 6.5 if I win. But then what if I'm going against the Niners? I'm probably a double. What is that? Is that 8? Is it 10? San Francisco, Houston Super Bowl? I don't know.
Well, again, consider what the Texans would have done at that point.
Yeah.
Go to Baltimore, win outright, 9.5-point dogs. But go to KC or Buffalo, win outright.
But the argument then on the other side would be, do the Niners beat the Packers by 14 or more? And do they bury whoever wins the Tampa game?
Think about this for a second. If we do get blowouts this weekend or one blowout, like try to predict which game that's going to be, a game that you would lay alternate numbers in, which one would it be? Because it's unlikely, based on history, that we're going to get 4 games that are tight. It's actually happened. I went back and looked at the history of the divisional round.
Well, we're due after what happened this past week. Only one of the 6 games were close.
It's Haley's Comet, but you do get 4 close games occasionally. It's certainly not common, but if we get a blowout, where's it coming from?
It's the first game Saturday. Baltimore by 17 or more. They frustrate Stroud. They force some turnovers. They do what they want offensively. Lamar exercises the demons. He has a big game. Top 5 defense. Great home field advantage. They get it done. 20-point win.
I know I said this last week with I thought Dallas was going to be able to score at will against Green Bay. Never happened. I mean, would you be shocked, though, if this is the end of the line for Green Bay? And I hate saying that because, I would love to see it, but as well as this could be a really bad matchup for them, too.
Yeah.
Unless their defense somehow just puts it together again, which this is not who they've been the entire year.
It's a tough turnaround. Yeah. You played a great game against Dallas. Now you got to go do it again against the highest power-rated team.
More props coming up next. His number is in the low 80s, yet he accounted for 140-plus in their first meeting.
DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code VEGAS. Great props up already for the games. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, code VEGAS. The crown is yours.
All right, some props to look at for the divisional round. The Buffalo and the Kansas City game. James Cook and his rushing and receiving yards. First of all, again, you can look at the NFL Player Prop Analyzer at vsin.com. It is outstanding.
So easy to use.
Yeah. On the season, just his rushing yards prop, Cook is 11-7 to the over, but only 9-9 to the current number. But we're looking at rushing and receiving combined here. And there was a great breakdown in Fantasy Life. Cook ranked first in explosive receiving rate, 22.7%, and sixth in explosive run play rate, 13.9% among running backs with 50-plus targets and 150-plus carries. Don't forget that the first time that they played, he accounted for more than 140 yards rushing and receiving against Kansas City. I think he's going to be a major factor here against the Chiefs in this game coming up on Sunday. I think he's going to have to be.
Mm-hmm. Very disappointed with some of the play calling this past weekend. Buffalo, Tampa Bay, stick with the run. Don't be so pass happy. It was ridiculous. And also, I love Josh Allen. I like Allen to throw an interception, but I want everything Allen rushing related props.
You want it all to go over?
Yep. Yes.
So think about how they juice this one. Last week it opened 7.5 minus 125. I was on the air. I missed that one, making a great case for over 8.5. He had 8. And what did he have? 2 design runs last week?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Now it's 9.5. At DK, it's 9.5. Over is even money in this one. His longest rush is 12.5, and his yards prop is 44.5. Somebody reached out to me last week before the game was pushed back a day, and they said, Mitch, if you love his rushing attempts over, why don't you take the yards? And my thought was, it's because there's a potential like blizzard/avalanche happening at the same time. I don't know. He might have 12 carries for 19 yards. I don't know. And they could be like a lot of 3rd and 1 pushes. And oh, by the way, it took a 52-yard run for him to go over his yards prop last week. He wasn't exactly, banging at every single drive.
That'd be the one thing that would give me pause. They are so bad at the tush push. Like if they just say, well, we can't do this anymore. I mean, the only reason they did 3rd down, he didn't get it. They did it on 4th down. He was going to get stopped. I think it was Hayward.
He was crowd surfing at a Pearl Jam concert.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
They had to push him sideways to get there. He was short until everyone came in and helped him.
Mm-hmm.
With right. So it's like, how can you be that bad at the tush push?
With a guy who's 6'5" and like 250 pounds. I like his INT as well. He's played 18 games. He's thrown an INT in 14 of them. Mm-hmm. Chiefs are a very good defense. I documented this earlier in the show. Earlier this year, he did not throw an INT against the Chiefs, but I went back and looked at all of his previous meetings. He has thrown multiple INTs in his career against KC in multiple games. And it's between $1.05 and $1.30 on the opener. I found $1.09 out here in Las Vegas, so I bet him to throw an INT yesterday. Also, on Cook, just to give you the exact numbers from the first meeting, he had 10 carries for 58 yards. Now, can he do that again? That's 5.8 yards per carry. Maybe a little unlikely, but also 5 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown.
Yep, bingo.
So that talks about the explosive percentage and the rate that he is able to do when he's catching balls out of the backfield. So I kind of like Cook in this game as well. I'm looking at the Saturday night game. The Niners against the Packers. Brock Purdy is 13-3 under his current passing completions prop at DK, which is 21.5. 13-3 under that number. Mayfield, 12-6 under 22.5. Jared Goff, 11-7 under 23.5 completions. Attempts, Purdy, 13-3 to the under 30.5 on the year. Mayfield, 13-5 under 35.5 on the year. Stroud, 10-6 under 35.5. And Mahomes has a prop of 36.5 attempts. He's 11-6 over that number.
How do you treat this in the first quarter with Purdy if you're Shanahan? Come out, let it rip, be aggressive, and then if there's a mistake, you dial it back. And is it Garoppolo part 2? Remember when they beat Minnesota and Cousins at home? They were running every play. And then they ran out Green Bay and they just gashed them on the ground in the following game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just line up and run it against Green Bay. And maybe he doesn't or it's the blowout scenario. You have a comfortable lead and you're running anyways in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be another reason to bet the under.
It's a great question, Paul.
Yep, I will say this. Remember what Bosa said after they eviscerated the Eagles? We gave everyone the blueprint on how to slow down Hurts.
Yeah.
He wasn't lying,
yeah.
Right? So now it's what does Love do against this great Niner defense?
Okay. There's also, and there was a narrative all year long, that Brock Purdy, the reason why he was so good is because his weapons are elite and they have all this yak yards after the catch. Well, that was proven to be false, 80% into the season. And I looked at some of the props and tied in what happened throughout the year. Brock Purdy's longest completion against Green Bay, right? Again, the thought is, I'll just get it to Debo. He's going to take off for 55 yards, no problem. Mm-hmm. It's 39.5. He went over that number 10 games this year. Ayuk did it 3 times, Debo 5, Kittle 3 times, McCaffrey only once. When you look at the Packers' defense on the year, how many times did they allow a completion of 39.5 yards or more? In the regular season, it happened in 3 games.
Okay.
That's it. It happened twice against the Cowboys last week, but that's because Dallas was down and out from the jump.
It did?
And they had to try and recover. Went over 39.5 yards.
I don't recall that. Okay.
So they've been great. The defense has not been, any good whatsoever for the most part, but they've been good at limiting that long of a completion on the year. Ayuk, his longest reception is 22.5. He split that this year. Again, these are all going to be juiced up because the public will be betting the over on all these props. He had 8 overs and 8 unders. Deebo Samuel, longest reception, 22.5 yards. He went under that 8 times, over only 7. Kittle is 22.5. He had 10 overs, 6 unders. CMC 13.5, 10 overs and 6 unders. But then I went back and looked at every single tight end that Green Bay played. So tight ends, Kittle again 22.5. How many tight ends had a reception of 23-plus yards on the year? It happened 7 times in all their games. But think about the tight ends that they played. Laporta did it twice, Hawkinson once, Kelsey once, and I put in Cole Kmet. The first 3 guys I talked about are absolutely elite. And so despite this being below 500 on the year going over, I would put Kittle obviously in that same group. That's one way to look at that. Also, will McCaffrey have a 30-plus yard carry is plus 240. The yes only cashed in 4 of his games this year. Will McCaffrey have a 20-plus yard carry is minus 145. The yes cashed 7 times this year for McCaffrey out of the games that he played. And then if you look at players with 20-plus yard carries against Green Bay, it happened 15 different times this year, but that's running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. And how many times did a 30-yard plus carry happen against Green Bay? Only 4 times. So I think people are going to look at those props from McCaffrey in the long runs and say, that's automatic. Well, they're priced that way for a reason. I would say it's far from automatic that's going to happen. Now, could he rip off a 35-yard run in the first drive? Sure. But the numbers just tell you that it hasn't happened as often as you would think.
Don't forget to bet missed extra point in this game.
That's a good one.
Moody and Carlson with the yips. This is a big one for San Francisco. If there's one area you got to be concerned about, it's Moody.
Totally agree.
I mean, a 40-yard field goal is an adventure. Extra points with Green Bay are an adventure. What do you do if you're McDermott now? Sal Bass was terrible. I mean, you miss a 26-yard field goal that bad? And then you had the jailbreak on the block field goal, and now you have a new punter now? You just had to sign a punter?
Got hurt in a game?
I don't know how he can have confidence in Bass.
Well, I mean...
With that offense, if I'm going against KC, and even if it's a high-scoring game, number one, the weather, what's going on with the wind, and I missed 2 field goals last week.
That could be a recipe for the under in the Niners game. Let's say Carlson and Moody, and they come out in this game and they're shaky, and they either miss kicks or they're lucky to get them in. Does that change what Shanahan and LaFleur will think when it's 4th and 3 at the 38-yard line?
Sure.
They're going to go for it. They don't get it, then there's a lost drive. Mm-hmm. No points created.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Can you trust Carlson to go out there from anything beyond like 45, 48 yards right now?
Can't trust Carlson, can't trust Moody, can't trust Bass. Definitely can trust Butker. That was very impressive what he did last week. Made 4, even they were short, though, in those conditions.
Yeah, that's the one guy that's
nails.
He's
had a great year.
Yeah. Honestly.
McLaughlin from 54.
Yeah, sure.
Another one.
Sure. That game on Saturday night could be a game where it's just a comedy of errors with the kicking game. And both teams get haunted by it.
Yep.
Carlson's been shaky since, I want to say, like early October.
Can we find 3-1 on that?
On the missed extra point?
Plus 280? Maybe. I think we can.
All right, it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mike Palm, VP of Circa, is going to join the show up next. He loved the Packers last week, had them every which way but loose. Has he identified a similar bet for the divisional round? Find out next here on VSiN.